Joanna Polani lives in hiding not only from ISIS but also from Danish authorities as she broke strict anti-terror laws when she returned to Iraq and Syria to fight with her Kurdish unit. The 23-year-old dropped out of a university in Copenhagen, Denmark, where she was studying political science. The reason? She felt called to rejoin the Kurdish Peshmerga in Iraq and Syria, where military forces continue to fight against ISIS. Polani was inspired to do so because of her background and heritage. As an Iranian Kurdish descendant, she was born in a refugee camp in Rumeida, Iraq, and fired her first gun at the age of 9. She said she felt propelled to, quote, fight for women's rights for democracy for the European values she learned as a Danish girl, end quote. After returning to Denmark in 2015, authorities banned her from returning to the region. But Polani broke the strict anti-terror laws and rejoined her Kurdish unit fighting ISIS in northern Syria between June and October of 2016 because, as she says, she couldn't bear to leave the women she had trained. She spent days on the front line, her Russian rifle trained on jihadists. Polani can also be credited with helping to liberate Yazidi girls who were imprisoned as sex slaves while fighting alongside Peshmerga forces in Iraq. She said, quote, as a sniper, I could be on the front lines for 9 days at a time. I would get up at 4 to 5 a.m., get my SVD rifle and AK rifle, my bag, and 2 hand grenades. I would take up a position away from the window, find a space where I could be comfortable, and lay down with my finger on the trigger. In the daylight, we defend. At night, we hunt and shoot. Once the Danish authorities learned of Polani's actions, she was locked up in Vestre Fenskel, Denmark's largest prison. After spending 3 weeks behind bars, she was released. However, her passport was confiscated and she now faces jail time. Polani says that she's seen as a terrorist in her own homeland and lives in hiding. Though she's effectively homeless, she constantly changes her location every 3 days for fear of reprisal and to avoid being found. She says, I'm sorry for breaking the law, but I had no choice in my mind at the time. And those I risked my life for are now taking away my freedom. I didn't expect to lose everything for fighting for our freedom and our safety. During her interview, the 23-year-old also disclosed that because she's killed 100 Islamic militants, there's a $1 million bounty on her head. She said, ISIS wants to kill me and capture me to convert me into a radical Islamist or turn me into a sex slave. But I love my independence and freedom as a woman more than I fear being captured or turned into a sex slave by ISIS or for ISIS. And my worries about being captured and killed are not as great as my love of freedom. That is what keeps me going. And though she faces many challenges in her day-to-day life, the activist expressed that she won't give up. She says, I will never give them the victory of my fear. When we were prepared to liberate houses of ISIS sex slaves, we had this saying, one fighter goes to rescue, but many fighters will come back out. And that's because the survivors often join us. Many of the girls we rescue join us and train to become fighters as well. So if they capture me, I would still fight them for all those girls as well as myself. I will never submit or let them win. She says she's lost everything after leaving Denmark to return and fight with the Kurdish Peshmerga. She says, I was willing to give up my life and my freedom to stop ISIS advancing so that everyone in Europe can be safe. This was my choice. But I'm seen as a terrorist by my own country. In this day and age where people are tuned into their choreographed reality shows and think it's more important to keep up with the Kardashians, find a safe space to keep from being triggered, and take to the streets to chant mind-numbing leftist rhetoric, it's refreshing to see that there's somebody out there that will literally give up everything to fight for individual freedoms. Let the world know what you think about this woman in the comments section below. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification button, and when I upload a video, you'll be one of the first to see it. If you like what I do here, want to support this channel, and exercise your freedom of speech in a powerful and relevant way, you might want to check out a couple of these hard-hitting, high-impact, high-quality shirts. Thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you guys in the next video.
You guys are stopping people from getting home from work. You guys are freaking idiots. Fucking useless pieces of shit.